Are you plain bored of woodworking? Get excited again with Fish Eye's Make Your Own Sandpaper Kit. Fish Eye's Sandpaper Kit comes with everything you see here. Just pick your paper, spread the glue, and shake on the sand. Voila! Beautiful handcrafted sandpaper. And if you act now, we'll include candy sprinkles absolutely free. What better way to say I love you than with a gift of sandpaper? Fish Eye's Make Your Own Sandpaper Kit is just $19.99 wherever crappy gifts are sold.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Jim. I hear it's time for another episode of In Touch with Brant Aerials. I hear you got a great show tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Well, I gotta go. I got a thing to take care of.
Well, we'll let Uncle Extra Medium take care of his thing. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's December the 19th, almost Christmas. It'll be Christmas here the day after tomorrow. My grandkids are heading this way, and we're celebrating Christmas on Saturday. But anyway, without further ado, here's all the way from beautiful Crystal Beach on Canada's south coast, Mr. Jim Boshart is back.
Yay. Oh, hi, Gary.
How are you doing?
Well, I felt like I was pushing a grocery cart around today with a wonky wheel. Everybody was pissing me off.
Really?
Yeah.
So so you changed carts?
Well, it felt like I was pushing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're back for a show, or are you coming back in 2025?
Well, I just come out of retirement for a show. Well, let's see if I survive the year.
Okay, good stuff.
I'm not hoping for much. So
Hey, we've got an all-Canadian show today, so we're not going to discuss politics, religion, or racism. And Canadians are kind and respectful, so it should be an easy to go show, right?
I'm sorry, I'm just apologizing now.
Well, okay, I'll introduce our first guest. Or should I introduce the audience first?
Your show.
Okay. All the way from somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico, our friend from Arrow Snapper, Kingston, Mr. Mike Hill.
Hey.
Are you in the Gulf?
Jim.
Are you in the Gulf now, or?
We are somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico between Cozumel and Tampa, Florida.
Oh, okay.
Heading in.
Oh, okay. So you're heading to Tampa and then you fly back from there, or?
Assuming all goes well.
Okay.
That's good reception from that dinghy.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to keep cranking the generator in the lifeboat periodically, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you get to Tampa, you're going to have Ken Dono pick you up at the dock and take you to the airport, or?
Is he down that way?
Yeah. That's his.
Oh, I didn't know. That would have been a fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And what's his name? I fixed Jet. What's his name? Dan Sampson.
Yeah.
He's down there too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And and the other guy, Bill the drone reviewer, he's there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have been giving some serious thought to going to the South Florida drone meet next year.
Oh, okay. I'm not going.
No, you're not going. Oh, well, there. That all purpose is gone.
We're not going to talk about politics. But we also have another Canadian in the waiting room, back there in the green room, all the way from Beaver Lake. Beaver. Mr. Don Joyce.
Hi there. Merry Christmas.
How's things at Beaver Lake?
Well, it's pretty good. 5 minutes before 6, I looked at Joy and said, "Oh my God, I'm supposed to be on live stream in 5 minutes." And we were 10 minutes away.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, you made it. That's good. So,
yeah, we've been running around all day.
So how's things up in your neck of the woods?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. The lake is going, it's freezing and then it's thawing, then it's freezing. And yeah, but this morning it was still frozen.
Yeah. Have you got snow? Have you got snow there?
A little bit. There's just kind of a dusting, so it's just
Yeah.
perfect. But I don't know whether it's going to stay for Christmas or not.
Yeah, we had a dusting here, and I was able this morning to just take the leaf blower and blow off both cars, and
Yeah,
off they went.
that's about the extent of it here
Yeah,
too.
that's a
but my
bonus.
my driveway, which is really really steep, was icy this morning. So
Oh, well, Jim, you're in the snow belt. You're right next to Buffalo. Have you got 10 feet of snow yet?
No, but when I went, it was a little bit. When I walked outside this morning, I farted, and it pretty much melted everything.
There you go.
This way.
Yeah, it was gone.
Yeah. So how are you guys doing with DPAC? Everything ship shape with
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we're coming up on the end of our second year, I guess, of operation.
yeah.
Somewhere close to 10,000 people are involved in one
Wow.
way, shape, or another. It's really, really good.
Should
Mike moderates the Facebook group, and I don't know how he does it, honestly. So thank you, Mike, for doing that.
Should we inform the audience what DPAC is for those non-Canadians?
Absolutely not. No, it's a closed club. It's a closed club. We don't want anybody to know about what we're doing.
Whatever happens in DPAC club stays in DPAC.
Yeah, there's a little banner there. If you're a
There it
Canadian
is.
drone pilot, join DPAC.
Yeah,
It's
so
free.
the Drone Pilot Association of Canada is a free organization to join. We have a very cleverly hidden webpage called dronepilot.associationofcanada.com. And what we do is we represent recreational and small commercial, like the mom and pop shop kind of drone operators, but mostly recreational. I'd say it's about 80% recreational, 20% commercial. Drone operations in Canada. And the idea is, let's promote safety, let's promote good practices, share stuff, start to understand better what the regulations are and things like that. And in parallel with that, interact with Transport Canada and to some extent NAV Canada, but mostly Transport Canada, to ensure that rules and exams and all that kind of stuff are moving in the right direction. I can't say that we've got them there, but every once in a while some little thing happens, and it's like, yeah, we're actually having an influence. So that's fantastic. I'll share one little piece of news when we're all along the way here.
Okay. Is there any movement on the use of marijuana with drones?
Not that no, nothing. Right now, and it's. I mean, I don't smoke pot or anything, but the ruling is so ludicrous. I mean, the only legal statement is that you have to be. I don't remember the exact wording. Maybe Mike, you do, but it's basically you can't be intoxicated or under the influence of any drugs, whether they be legal or not, such that your judgment is impaired. But they have interpreted that in the AIM document, which is basically a Transport Canada interpretation of the law. And they've said, well, clearly, since drone pilots are pilots, then we have to have exactly the same rule for our drone pilots as our airline pilots. And that means
30 days.
24 hours for alcohol. And, no, 12 hours. 12 hours for alcohol and 28 days for marijuana.
Yeah.
And and I don't know. That is ludicrous. Interpretation. I'm sorry, I missed whatever the thing was.
Is Gary waiting to know how high he can fly? No, the thing is, what I do is I put the drone away for the winter, right? And I take some gummies to relieve the pains, right?
Yes.
And retreat to my workshop in the basement, so I can hack my finger off again when I'm high.
Don't do that.
Perfect. Actually, when Jim said we were talking about movement on marijuana, I thought he meant into federal institutions. Plenty of movement.
That's going quite successfully, it seems, with drones.
Yes.
Sadly.
Yeah. Oh boy. Let me just take a look here and see what's going on. We have 5 likes already. There you go.
Oh my God.
Wow. We're popular amongst the population. So, are you? Who's up next for flying? Are you flying at all, Jim?
I have not.
I flew this morning.
Where'd you go?
Well, you mean drone flying, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was down at Joy's place, and she wasn't ready. We were heading out. She wasn't ready, so of course, I had 2 drones with me. So it was like, a Neo or Mini. So I just popped the drone up, and it was just the Neo, and I was just making sure the latest firmware load was operational and fine. And yeah, it's working good.
Yeah, that's good. And Mike, you're coming back.
I'll be flying on Saturday, but as far as the cruise ships go, you may not even bring a drone on board.
Oh yeah,
You can't even bring it on board, whether you fly it or
cannot
not.
even. They are confiscated at the point of embarkation.
Yeah.
Wow.
And handed back to you when you disembark. And I noticed all the cruise ship terminals have no drone signs up.
Wow. They've got a Virgin cruise that is ahead of the South Florida drone meetup, and Virgin is allowing them to bring drones aboard. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand the captain doesn't want a drone flying across the wheelhouse, your window, but to ban them altogether seems to me a little bit unnecessary.
Well, when we go to Cuba, you can't bring a drone in. Period. If you bring a drone in, it's like it's almost like the cruise ship thing. They confiscate it, but they don't give it back when you leave.
They don't give it back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the difference.
No, they can't find it anymore. Don't know where it went.
It gets Cuban Air Force markings.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Joy and I are going to Costa Rica in January, and I checked with their drone police kind of thing, and everything's good. You can take it.
Yep.
Their regulations are very, I'll say, non-prescriptive. It's basically don't do anything stupid. Don't, there's the usual weight limits and stuff, but there's a few places that they don't want you to fly. And one of them happens to be a volcano that we're going to be near, but the circle that you can't fly in is 1 nautical mile, so 2 kilometers, and it's an immense volcano. So we're not going to be anywhere near that. So
no.
Yeah.
So that'll be all right.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing whatever we can see there.
Good stuff. What's your next project, Mike? What are you shooting these days?
No, that's a really good question. I continue to follow the docks and the ferries.
I was going to say, the dock. That 1 month project should last for a few more years.
I think so. And then we've got the new Causeway Bridge.
You'll be able to cover the bridge.
Is taken.
You can cover the bridge going in and out every week.
Yeah, well, I think the bridge will outlive me. The whole business.
Yeah. I just finished the Costco thing.
Yeah.
And
watched that today.
Wrap that all up, and that took me a week to edit it, but because I had footage all over the place. I was wrapping up 23 episodes and then creating a playlist. And I created the playlist, and there was only 22 episodes. So I don't know where the other one went, but we'll sort it out. But I guess the next one I'm going to do it, and it's one of those ones that it's not Costco, like a Costco Blitz. They're building a school, library, park, recreation center in Brantford, so I'm going to cover that. But
is that where that roller skating park is? Or
no, that one's all done. That's finished.
Oh, it's done. Oh wow!
I finished the roller thing in Burford, and that was only 6 episodes. I mean, they were in and out of there real quick. And the school thing is probably going to take 2 or 3 years. So it's not going to be fly by every week and see a change like it was with Costco.
That was amazing how fast they threw that up. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, wasn't it? And I think I mentioned to Gary the other day that there are persistent rumors that Kingston is going to get a new Costco. So it would be very interesting to see it. Well, the one we've got is pretty small.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the smaller ones, but yeah,
it is. and the population keeps growing.
And
Well,
they keep
the
saying
other,
there's going to be one in Belleville, but that apparently
yeah,
will never happen. So.
Yeah.
the other thing that I'm waiting to catch, and I have been for a while, about a year ago, just over a year ago now, they erected the 2 construction cranes for the 23-story apartment building downtown.
Yeah,
So that crane's coming down in the next month.
because
Oh,
they're done,
I'm
right? Yeah,
very keen to see that taken apart.
yeah.
yeah. Well, you've kind of inspired me to follow those construction things. You know, the Veterans Village, the taking down of the bridge, and the Canadian Tire that's never finishing.
Yeah. Well, the good news is they don't move.
Yeah.
They're relatively easy to find.
You can find
They're
them.
relatively
Yeah.
easy to fly.
Yeah. Well, somebody asked me if I was going to cover the skate park in Paris that they're building through the winter.
Mhm.
I said, no, I don't think so. That's the nice thing about doing it recreationally is you're not bound to somebody's schedule,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
And
And
if it's raining or something, you don't feel obligated to go out there and do it. So
no, and if I don't feel like it, I just don't go, right? I mean, you know, the difficulty I'm having here is getting permission to fly it when workers are on site. I don't know what the deal is. They don't want their workers seen on video, even from a distance. You know, I approached the school place and I walked up to the trailer, which is just inside a gate. And I gave the guy my card and I said, you know, I'm going to be flying this on occasion. And, you know, we'll just sort of, and I said, we're going to document the history of the building. And he says, you have to wear a hard hat. And I said, yeah, I've got a hard hat in the car. But I said, I don't come inside the gate. Right. And he says, and don't, and you need a vest. And I said, yeah, I've got a vest. You know, I'm not going to come inside the gate.
And a pocket watch to go in your vest, of course.
Yeah. And he said, and don't take video of any of the workers. And I said, what's the problem with that? No, he says, we just don't want our workers. I said, are you afraid of that guy down there without the hard hat being caught on camera? There was a guy without a hard hat. And I said,
unfortunately, yeah. Sadly, that's usually the first response. The first concern on a construction site, I think, is that the bosses are spying on them.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Labor is spying on them.
Yeah.
Or they're going to make a mistake and everybody's going to know about it.
Right.
And there can be a little bit of a challenge explaining to people that I try to do. I'm trying to show your work off and get recognition for the skills and the crafts you're deploying.
Yeah.
And if you can get that message across, then it's actually pretty positive. And you know, I'm not saying it happens very often, but occasionally somebody will say, and this is the problem with not being officially engaged with the project. Somebody will say, oh, you know, you should be here tomorrow morning because, and something interesting is happening.
And I'm having trouble getting them to communicate that. I said, you know, if there's a landmark thing, let me know and I'll try and see if I can make it. Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was interesting. I covered the greenhouse project. You know, there was a greenhouse that they were building down the road. Yeah. And it took a year. And I posted a video and they called and they said, Gary, you got to take that down. I said, why? He says, there's a safety violation. And he says, we'd like that footage because we want to get in touch with the contractor and there's got to be some discipline taken.
Oh, God.
And I said, okay, yeah, no problem. You know, I'll take it down and edit that bit out. And, you know, I guess there was a guy on a hoist with and he wasn't tied off. Right. And,
well, yeah.
You know, he said, we want to be strict with the contractor and the contractor is going to have to pay. You know, he's going to have to give us something back for a violation.
For a violation that could have cost them a ton of trouble.
Yeah. So, well, there is that, but you know, I mean, you can't identify somebody when you're 150 feet in the air and
in terms of identifying them, that's a different story. But catching, or not catching, but illustrating a safety violation or exposing it.
But you know,
so I had 4 trees cut down on my property about, when was that? A week ago. And when the guy came out to do it, and I know this guy I've known him for a long time, I said, you know, I'd love to film it. Is that okay with you? And he said, absolutely. And so he and his helper guy were cutting down all these trees and stuff. And then at the end, he said, by the way, this is going up on YouTube, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, do you mind if I look it over before you publish it? Because I don't want to get, like, I know I do everything according to the book, but there's a possibility I didn't do something right, and I didn't even know it at the time. So if I could at least preview it, then, you know, maybe you can snip that piece out or whatever. And I said, absolutely. Yeah. I don't want to make you look bad.
No. Yeah. And you know what? I was getting feedback from Costco. I published a video, and in the voiceover, I said they plan to open their the gas station, the first week of October, and the store will open the first week of November.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I posted that, and I put it up on YouTube, and within 15 minutes, I got 2 calls from Costco. You can't tell them we're opening on the 1st of November, or 1st of October. We can't make it. We're not going to be open.
Oh.
Right? He says, you have to take that down. So anyway, I take it down immediately, edit the voiceover so that it doesn't mention the opening dates,
right,
and then post it again. I've got 125 views in the first half hour.
Nice.
Right? Well, yeah, but now I don't get credit for that because now it's private, right? So anyway,
you still get credit for the views.
Yeah. So then I hear on Facebook, the rumor is, yes, it's been confirmed. They're opening the gas bar the 1st of October.
Yeah. But you know, there's a couple of interesting aspects to the whole business of drones on site. And they're positive. The first is that in the event that any sort of incident does occur, the contractor will find it very helpful to have video made available to allow them to identify the cause.
Yeah.
And you know, to rectify the problem if there's a problem.
Yeah.
If there is, yeah.
And the other thing is, it's not actually a bad thing for the construction crews to know that there's going to be a drone about, because they will tend, if the company might not be quite as rigorous in checking and confirming proper use of equipment, people, you know, who might otherwise be out of sight on the back of a roof or something, who would not ordinarily have done the right thing, tends to do the right thing, and that's in everybody's interest, because accidents cost time and money.
Yeah, for sure.
Far more than the inconvenience of putting your hat on or fastening your harness, whatever.
Yeah.
So
and
you know,
I think in the case of Costco, they really appreciated that we were there all the time, like unannounced, and usually late in the day. And they really enjoyed watching the progress as it happened.
Perfect.
You know, and I was in Costco the other day, and I was taking those shots with my phone.
Yeah.
And a guy with a Costco vest on says, "You're the Brant Aerials guy." Yeah, I am.
there you go.
He said, "Are you doing another video?" I said, "Yeah, we're doing a wrap up, you know." And you know, I think what it did for the store is it created some buzz. You know,
for sure. Yeah.
You know, typically I get, 40 or 50 views on cinematic scenery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I was getting 1,700 views.
Yeah.
Gary, here's a little task for you. Now that you've established this rapport with Costco, perhaps you might consider going in and talking to them about putting a little notice beside their drone sales point, advertising DPAC and our free safety course.
There, yeah, I could do that. Yeah. I know that I've met the manager.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, we tried doing it through the Connections magazine and so on.
Yeah,
and there was an initial flurry of interest,
and then
nothing happened.
Yeah.
Just ask if you could put a little thing up to say, check out Drone Pilot Association of Canada and their free safety course.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a QR code, I can send you an example sort of poster thing.
Yeah. Do that. Yeah. You've got my address. You've sent stuff here before.
I do. Yep.
And when are we having our drone meetup?
Do you mean no?
The Kingston
A
one.
drone meetup or a drone discovery day?
A drone discovery day.
Oh yeah, if it's a meetup, then it's
yeah. We do meetups about once a month because they're not free of regulation. Obviously, they're subject to the same regulations as any other flight,
but not an advertised event.
But they're not an advertised. Well, we've had this with transport. They're advertised, but only drone pilots attend. So they're all considered to be, flying independently and looking after one another.
Yeah.
Including the visual observers with the FPV guys.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
What it is, it's probably not a flying event as much as it's a social event.
It is a social event
where people have the same interest and will show off their flying.
And it's a private club. We're not advertising to other people that come on in.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Other than maybe the Rocketeers that we met up with last time.
Yes. That was odd and exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know whether Gary knows this story, but these guys were there earlier, like Mike and the rest of the guys. I arrived around noontime because I was busy with my mother, who happens to live in Kingston now. And so I arrive, and about 10 minutes later, a bunch of us turned around, and there was this gang. It looked like a gang of guys because they were 4 abreast coming down this little narrow sidewalk, 4 abreast, 5 deep, like they were almost like an army coming towards, and they all had sticks in their hands, and they were waving, like just kind of waving them like this. And it was like, what is that? And somebody said, oh, maybe they're playing lacrosse, because you couldn't tell. It turns out they were rockets that they were holding.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So we were all afraid, us nerds were going to get beaten up. And then it was like, nah, it's just lacrosse. Oh wait, it's rockets. Oh wow. So,
yeah, it was really interesting and good fun.
Well, that was at Drone Discovery Day.
No, that was it was a drone meetup.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the nice thing that there are 2 things that have been very helpful. I mean, there's a chap called Paul Carl, Aninishi Drones, who's largely taken on the sort of Kingston organization, and we get a great blend of FPV people and the camera drones, as people like to call them, and people genuinely help one another. And I keep trying to encourage the notion that DPAC's all about pilots helping pilots.
Yeah.
So that's what works very well. In April or May, we will do another drone discovery day, because I am absolutely determined to invest in the community the notion that they can come and discuss any concerns they've got with drones, or satisfy any curiosity they may have.
Make sure you put me on the mailing list, because I've been to 2 of them.
Absolutely.
And I'm not gonna make Florida this year, or next year,
right?
The year after.
and you didn't lose your Avata, did you?
No, I found that guy's Avata.
That's right, you did.
Yeah. And it was a matter. You know what it was a matter of doing was looking at his picture, the last thing he saw when it went down, and I said, "There's that tree, and there's that tree," and I kind of triangulated, walked over to the point where I could see trees in the same
view. Yeah.
Hey,
and then you saw the drone under your foot.
There's a drone. I almost stepped on it, But how long did we look for that? They were out there for a while.
We were out there half an hour at least.
Yeah, at least.
Around. Yeah.
But Gary and Jim, we have advanced in sophistication, because we had an FPV drone go down at the last meet at the same day as the Rocketeers, and we sent a thermal drone to found it, and the battery pack showed up bright white, and led us straight
before I got there. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. Could have been.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Well, there's something to say about thermal. Hey, you know what? We've got a whole bunch of people in the audience, and I haven't acknowledged anybody. So I'm just going to say Warren's here from Akirasho, Ronnie, God Bless America, Brian, Waypoint, New England, Scott, Jackrabbit FPV is here. Jerry Bauer is here all the way from Florida, Ottawa, Florida. Jim's droning. He comes to our meetups. We've had 2, and he came to 1. No, we've had 3 meetups, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim and I were the first ones at the first meetup, and then Jim and Wayne and
you and I
and Jim, yeah,
and then John for the third,
and then John for the third one, yeah. So we'll probably there's John. John's in the chat too, and there's Don. Mudball Don is in. Don's coming back on the 2nd of January to co-host the show. We don't have a guest yet, but we'll work on that. Who am I missing? Phil Koshat's here from the Shat Show. Life is a hobby. Oh, he doesn't have a wrench. Let's wrench him up.
Oh,
how do I do that? Nope, I can't hide him. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing.
And pressing the wrong buttons again.
I'm pressing the wrong buttons again. Yeah. Okay, I'll find him later. Peter Carroll, all the way from Australia. He's always the first one to view my late at night posting. Oh, there's Life is a Hobby. Here we go.
It's the wee morning for him.
Life's a Hobby he's in Ireland.
Excellent.
Added moderator. There you go.
Did we say hi to Bob Casey, brother Bob?
Bob Casey's in the house. Okay. I'm going back. Oh, and there's Idaho Quadcopter, Marcus Crawford. I got a notice the other day on, like all your YouTube stats. My most popular live stream of the year was Marcus Crawford.
There you go.
So
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that it's a competition.
Bi-weekly.
No, it's an endurance test.
What was it that it was David Letterman used to say, this is an exhibition, not a competition. Please, no wagering.
No wagering for stupid people tricks or animal tricks.
Kenny from Place It Here was here early, and Dominic from Northside Hawk, another Aussie. So yeah, there's quite a pile of people in here, and let's just take a look here and see what that says. There's
how many people are on? I can't see the number.
20 watching and 13 like us. 7 don't care.
7 couldn't give a crap.
7 are watching on TV and don't have that button. So what's next up for DPAC? Have you got another Transport Canada conference coming up, or?
Well, the next thing that's going to be coming up, there's 2 things actually that are coming up. One just came up last week, but it's the 2 are kind of related. So Transport Canada announced that there's a whole pile of new regulations coming out, not making us more regulated, but expanding the framework of the regulations to larger drones and to beyond visual line of sight. So that stuff is expected to come into effect or be announced formally at some point early next year. So we're all excited and getting ready for all that. But last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago now, the guy who, his name is Mark, who runs the exams and the training kind of elements of this stuff, he contacted me and said, hey, we're trying to put together the exams for some of these new programs, these new regulations, and specifically the next level of pilot certification above advanced, the level 1 complex, I believe it is. Sorry, my brain's not with me tonight, but anyway, the next level above the advanced guys. And he said, how about you guys propose some exam questions and then he gave us kind of a selection of the knowledge areas. So
what's this new category about then?
So this is for the more complex operations, specifically larger drones and beyond visual line of sight. So it's a whole new class of stuff. It doesn't really impact recreational or small commercial people too much, but it's a whole, it's just a huge amount of stuff. The regulations, when I started looking at it back in the summer, it's about 50% again in terms of new rules and regulations for these larger drones, like over 25 kilograms, and for drones that are flying beyond visual line of sight basically in remote areas, because the rules are only in place, are being put in place for very low population density places and away from airports and stuff like that.
So that's kind of more for the guys with the big thermal drones who are looking at power lines and wind turbines and that kind of stuff.
Yep, and for cargo drones going up to the Arctic, things like that. But yeah, you're right, inspections and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so not something I have to upgrade. You know what? I'm coming up to, like, you have to have a recurrent exam every 2 years.
Every 2 years, yeah. But you can take the DPAC safety course.
I'm coming up to my second recurrent.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
You know, because I took my first course in 21 when it first came out, right?
2019. It came out in 2019.
2019?
Yeah, you got your advance, like, I think it was July or something like that, maybe June of 2019.
Yeah.
I remember you and I talked, and Jim, I think we were talking. Is that right? Am I thinking?
Yeah, no, that goes back a ways.
Yeah.
But I did a recurrent. I've done one recurrent. Maybe I'm not current at all now.
Not in current events,
because they don't put on your license when you're due, do they?
No, you're supposed to keep track of it yourself. Yeah.
Hold on. What's it? Let me get this out of here. Let's see. Pilot certificate, date issued 2019.
So you would have done it in 21.
January 9th, 2019.
Yeah. I mean, Don may shout me down on this, but the simplest, easiest way to do it is the drone pilot safety course.
Yeah.
But I think I'm correct in saying if you take any exam, you get recurrence. So you could do the basic again.
See, I've got the US one on one side and the Canadian one on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can take any exam, including the basic, and that reinstates your knowledge stuff. Even if you have your advanced, you can take the basic.
Yeah.
But I would say the safety course is not only easier, and it's free, and it's and when I say easier in the sense of less stressful.
Yeah.
And you'll probably learn something or be reminded of something that you might have forgotten. You take the exam and it's just like,
well, as long as I know all about hypoxia, I should be okay, right?
Yeah.
Well, of course, if
that is not anywhere in any of the exam questions.
No. How about when taxiing up to a runway?
Well, that is probably on there still. In fact, when I took it, I took the advanced again. Yeah, I took the advanced again, and one of the questions was along the lines of, you are flying on an airport in the bounds of the airport, and you're about to cross a runway, and they specify the runway, and the air traffic control tells you something about that runway, and it's like, wait a minute, just back up the train here.
Well, but we've got to be careful here, because we're overlooking the fact that there are fixed wing drones.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that has some relevance to a small section.
And there's drones that fly at airports, like in Edmonton. They fly drones
absolutely.
to chase away birds.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. So,
cool.
but they have drones that look like hawks or peregrine falcon or something like that. Like they're kind of dressed up to look like birds.
But
nice.
But Gary, I think you ought to follow Don's example and do the advanced exam a third time.
Oh yeah,
just do that.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that again.
I would not have the courage to do that, because
why don't I hire a $300 flight reviewer to watch me? That'll work.
Yeah, just take another flight review. There you go. That's easy.
Why not? Yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the fact that Drone Pilot Association of Canada is now being asked to participate in doing things is a positive thing. I mean, it's kind of a double-sided sword. Anyway, it's sharp, because we're going to contribute to it, and we're obviously going to contribute in the best and most sensible way possible.
Yeah.
But we're being asked to do exam questions for knowledge requirement areas that we may or may not agree are really required to be there at all. Like if you think back to the basic, for example, and hypoxia, that's a perfect example. If we had been there and they said, well, yeah, can you guys come and do some exam questions, which is how it all started. They did ground schools and stuff to have the exam questions contributed. And they said, oh, hypoxia. Yeah, here's a dozen questions on hypoxia. And you do the best questions possible that are not trick questions and, well formulated, but they're on a stupid subject. I'm sorry. So we're going to have to be very careful. We did agree to do it. We only agree to do questions or contribute questions on knowledge areas that we think are actually reasonable to do at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, of course, nobody will know which questions we contributed versus, somebody else, because they're doling these out to different people. And so, somebody's going to take the exam and it's like, damn DPAC and their dumb exam questions. So, yeah.
But it's important, and it's a reasonable acknowledgement that whereas in 2019 they didn't have a drone community on which to draw for advice, they now do, and transport. I think, Don, you'd agree, they've been extraordinarily reasonable and amenable to logical arguments.
Absolutely.
They're not out to get you, and they didn't do anything to make life more difficult. They just didn't have a better source of advice.
Yeah. Right. And when I took it the first time, I went through the entire AIM. I think I read the whole thing cover to cover.
Yeah.
And I've still got stuff floating in my brain that doesn't. Okay, here's a question for you. Who is authorized to serve alcohol on an aircraft?
I'm waiting for the ABCD.
Yeah. No.
Who is authorized to serve alcohol on an aircraft?
Yeah.
Well, obviously the air hostess or whatever they're called. I don't know. Who the hell knows? Why would they care?
Mike?
I know. It's anybody authorized by the captain.
Yes, by the pilot in command.
Well, it's by the captain, I think.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Because the pilot in command is the pilot flying.
Whoever's got the wheel.
That can be, yeah. Whoever's actually pointing the thing in the right direction.
Okay, stop the alcohol. We're in turbulence. Well, it was crazy, the kinds of things that sink into the sponge that's between your ears that are totally irrelevant,
There's a lovely discussion going on at the moment on the Facebook page, and it's one with which Don and I are very familiar because we've been addressing it with Transport Canada, and it's what are the laws that prevent you or permit Parks Canada to say you may not fly your drone over national parks. And unfortunately, like many other things, there's a lot of misinformation. And everybody turns to Transport Canada and attacks them. And they've made the point very reasonably and cogently that they don't actually have very much to do with overflight of national parks at all. There's a couple of regulations, but the majority of them are to do with nuisance, wildlife protection and management, and environmental protections. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to get people to accept that.
Yeah,
it's very hard.
Yeah. It's not just the parks manager saying, I hate drones and I don't want to see them. There are laws.
Yeah,
and I couldn't find it, Don, when I was looking over the last 24 hours. But I think at one point, one of the transport guys sent us a list of the regulations that they believed were behind.
What, did somebody want to know the exact what it was? Okay.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, I know you're preparing for Costa Rica, but if you've got a moment, just have a look. I put it on the pinned posts.
Okay.
And it's good that people are asking the questions.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a good discussion group. It's very friendly.
It's
It's friendly, safe, and rational, and not just people mudslinging and
No.
Yeah. So, because we've got relationship with not only Transport Canada but Nav Canada as well, right?
Well, I don't know whether we call that a relationship.
Adversary partnership.
Adversary partnership. It's
I will speak for myself here. I have communicated with Nav Canada. I've communicated with their senior leadership, and I've communicated my concerns about the way they've done things, and nothing changes.
Nothing.
No. Well, and that's a private organization too, isn't it? That's not government. That's their contract.
It's not government. No, they are a
But
they're a private entity.
It's a non-profit corporation, which means that if they need more money, they just raise more money. Which is kind of a curious thing. It's not like a charity. They have been granted the responsibility to operate the airspace by the government of Canada.
Yeah,
and the authority.
Yeah. So it's it's private, but they've been given the responsibility to do it, and so they say they're ruthless in their control.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'll be very careful in my choice of words. They do not appear to be amenable to logical argument.
Hold on, let me just change the banner here. There we go. The opinions expressed tonight are not necessarily the opinions of those on the panel or in the chat.
No, I mean the thing that infuriates me is that I live in a city which has more stringent control of the airspace than Ottawa International or any other, as far as I can see, any other airport in Canada.
Yeah.
And yet it has no scheduled service.
Exactly.
It's just bizarre, and they don't appear even to be prepared to discuss it.
Is it a towered airport?
No, it has a flight
service
station.
Is it certified or is it?
It's certified. Yeah.
Okay.
It's certified. It's Class E.
Class D. Yeah. E or D. It doesn't matter. It's controlled airspace. Bottom line.
Yeah.
See, and I mean, the guys in the tower, the controllers, are lovely people, but when Nav Canada decided to allow the people in a control tower to determine what
he hit somebody awake.
It took 50 minutes, but we finally caught up.
You're completely frozen up, Mike. It's almost like Nav Canada has got on to what was going on here.
Oh man,
calm down.
Well, there we are.
Yeah,
it's an unstable internet connection. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So we missed everything about what the story was.
Oh, no story. No.
Okay.
No, just unfortunate that they, when they authorized the local towers to decide what the altitude limits and so on should be, they didn't really know what they were doing.
They just set their judgment on ultra conservative, and they said, you know what?
Correct. Exactly.
Annual approval of everything, even if it's between apartment buildings.
Yeah, exactly. Well, close to that. But when you can fly closer to Ottawa International than you can to the airport in Kingston, there's something wrong.
There's definitely something wrong.
Yeah, that's crazy, eh? Here we've got a registered airport. It's not certified. And, I just stay low and stay away. And I just click the little thing and saying I'm authorized, I mean, technically you can fly at the airport if you have permission, and they can't deny you permission. So.
Well, I think I mean I always like to say to people, who say, "Well, are there places you can't fly?" No, there's nowhere in Canada that you cannot fly a drone.
You just
But
need.
you must have the appropriate authorization.
Yeah. The 14-page SFOC document that you have to put in, and I mean,
yes.
Yeah, they're not that bad.
Yeah. No, I flew an advertised event and applied for an SFOC, and it came through, and I think maybe it took 2-3 days. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think an important point to grasp, and I always try to encourage people to, is the inspectors who work with transport are extraordinarily helpful and very approachable. And if they see if they notice something that you should not do, they'll usually turn back and say, "But if you do it this way, we'll be fine."
Yeah.
So
well, I think the airports have been told by Transport Canada that they can't deny the use of the airspace.
They have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they own the airport. They don't own the airspace. So, if you tell them you're going to fly, there's not much they can say about it. So,
well, but then we get into an interesting discussion about, because I think it's the airport operator who is usually the person to whom you should address an inquiry, and there may well be an Av Canada presence too. So they'll obviously talk to one another, but it can complicate the issue.
Yeah. Well, when I was flying and charging people, if I had to talk to the airport, I charged them extra $50 for the phone call.
Well,
I put it in as a line.
You know what? Yeah.
Clearance from airport, $50. Okay, so but I'm not doing that anymore. Those people are a pain in the ass to collect from anyway. So.
Something else that's new in the drone regulation area is, and I kind of, we knew it was coming because it was in the last issue of the AIM document back in October, this new notion of RPAS restricted airspace. And I didn't think that Nav Canada could actually pull it off as quickly as they did. But in the addition of the designated airspace handbook, which is the thing that defines our airspace, that comes out on December the 26th on Boxing Day, they have actually added a whole new chapter to the document. Not that it's a big chapter, but there's only 5 chapters and they've added a 6th. So it's significant. And it's all RPAS restricted airspace. There are a grand total of 8 across Canada. They're all circular. 2 of them are 1 kilometer in radius, and the other, 1 nautical mile in radius, and 6 of them are half nautical mile. So roughly 2 kilometers and 1 kilometer in radius. So they are being put into effect on Boxing Day. I've got a video coming out about it. What's today? Thursday? Yeah. So tomorrow morning there will be a video explaining all about that. And in some cases it makes absolute sense. Like there's going to be one of these things around the Darlington and Pickering nuclear power stations in Ontario, and those have been covered by NOTAM, no-fly zones, for as long as I can remember. But now they're taking out the NOTAMs and putting these permanent in quotation marks, no-fly zones around them. But the interesting thing is that they're for drones only. Like you can still fly a Cessna over Pickering, it appears to me, but you can't fly a drone over it. So it's an RPAS only no-fly zone.
No kidding. Well, I had one when I was doing my SFOC. And when I went to take off, it said there was a NOTAM because there was a drone operation taking place. And it occurred to me that was me.
Well, yeah, and it's funny you should say that. Typically, if I'm on a construction site, I'll put in an 8 hours block on a nav drone, and when I land from the first mission and I go to fly the second, I have a conflicting operation in the airspace. Mine.
Mm-hmm.
Not a clever not an agile piece of software.
No, exactly.
For sure.
So here's an interesting story. So there's the 2 in Ontario. There's 5 in Quebec, and then we're almost at the top of the hour. And then there's 1 in Halifax around the Halifax shipyards, which is the head of the headquarters of the Atlantic Fleet. You know, both of our Canadian canoes are moored there. So I was trying to get an area for the video. I was trying to get an aerial shot, you know, off of Google, you know, of the area. And I find one. It wasn't very good, but it was like, wait a minute, I recognize that office building in the distance, or not in the distance, like right beside it. It's the office where David Fraser, the privacy lawyer that I had talked to, he works in that office. So I send him a quick email. Hey, do you think you could go over to the, you know, the east side or the west side of your building and take a picture out the window and send it to me so I can put it in the video? And believe it or not, he did.
Nice.
But he sent me some better drone shots and stuff. So I've incorporated that into the video. But it was kind of weird. It was like, hey, I know where that is. Hey, can you send me a picture? Boom. 5 seconds later, I've got a picture.
Oh, man.
And so that one is actually irritating. He's actually, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he's kind of ticked off because he flies in that area all the time. Not to take pictures of the, you know, the frigate or whatever, but he just flies his drone from there because I guess he goes out at lunch hour and flies. But now it's going to be a no-fly zone. I think his building is included in that circle. And there was never a NOTAM there before, or at least certainly not for any length of time. And they did it as a circle. So it incorporates a big chunk of Halifax downtown, and it's like, geez, is this really necessary?
Yeah. Just for our American friends, I'd like to explain Boxing Day. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, where we put on the gloves and fight it out over the sales, right? So that's where that goes. Anyway, thank you guys for being on. Do you have anything to close out the show?
Don?
Anything we need?
Well, first, I mean, it's been an amazing year since we're coming up on the end of the year. DPAC had a couple of major objectives that we were trying to achieve this year. One of them being municipal, an engagement on municipal bylaws, and so we did that. Municipal bylaws are now incorporated into Drone Pilot Canada, the app. We've got some mechanisms out there that people can use to go to their city councils and get those fixed. And so that was our number one objective of the year. And we kind of moved the yardsticks, if you like, on that one. We would really like to get some insurance business in place for DPAC members. We're inching forward. We've actually connected with an insurance company that is interested. We haven't got a proposal back from them, but I'm hopeful. Hopeful. So
and that would be handy for the commercial pilots, people that are flying.
Definitely for the commercial ones, and to some extent recreational pilots.
Anyway,
I think so. Can I just say we don't make enough of the fact that people who are flying recreationally should really seriously consider liability insurance, because the potential risk if your drone were to fail for any reason, and they're not very likely to do, but it could be horrendous. And the only other thing I would like to say is to everybody, a very Merry Christmas and all the very best for the new year.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay. With that, no. Now's me hitting all these buttons. How do I do that? How do I get rid of it? Okay. Stop that. Okay. Now we do. Oh God, I'm bad at this.
And thanks for the invitation, Gary.
Settings, stop cam. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Mike, from your cruise ship. That's cool.
Yeah, wow. There we go.
Your personal yacht.
Yep, my personal yacht.
There we go. Is that showing? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna set you guys aside. We'll talk for a moment after, and you're in the outro. So here we go. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the new year, probably on the 2nd of January. Talk to you again soon. Thanks again.
Well, I'm done doing that thing I was doing, and yeah, it took about an hour. But thanks for tuning in to In Touch with Brant Aerials. We'll see you in 2 more weeks.